teams, so we should see them coming out and bringing their best.
We should indeed. Of course, first got to get through the operator bans, mind you. Thinking a clubhouse, you might often draw your attention towards something like a double hard breach ban, but I've seen a little bit of variation from teams, especially across different regions actually lately. Nothing has really made much, I suppose, coherent sense between the two. Here, at least, Maverick going to kick things off. I think fair to say Ace, one of the most staple bans on this map.
Absolutely. Just looking towards protecting those hatches. Maverick obviously able to get them open, even if there's a Thatcher ban in place and the Kaid Electrical is on there. There's always a way to get it done. Now, interestingly, that turns into a double hard breach ban. So Hibana being taken off the board as well. That is going to severely limit the possibility of getting hatches open.
I like how it's lined up exactly as we called that. Normally double hard breach is the way to go. Let's step into the defensive side of things. Normally seeing things like a Maestro, sometimes a Mira, in this case the utility game of Valkyrie. We saw between Fab and Fnatic earlier on just how scary the Valkyrie could be with the constant runouts, the run up to like White Door, for example, to kill people on the rappel. It was terrifying. Mira going to close things out. Not at all surprised by that. That was often the most staple ban in Europe because every single team despised playing against Mira. I think I once got told Mira makes hard sites to defend, good sites to defend, and makes good sites to defend fortresses. It's almost impossible to break through them. I think over here in APAC, we're starting to see it get used a little bit more in this season, especially when attacker aggression is so prevalent. Why not make it that bit harder by playing behind things like the Mira windows? Makes total sense to me.
Certainly does. And heading into round number 1 we go then. We're going to see CCTV defended to begin with. Talon will start off on the defense. The castle coming out possibly on the 6th pick. I was going to say that could be an interesting choice for CCTV. Castle, not an operator we generally see on that side. The other top floor site, the gym and bedroom, absolutely, but not too often here. But switched out for the Wamai. So we've got the Thatcher on the side of the attackers. No surprises there. Crazy Papillon bringing that along, so we shouldn't see too much of a problem getting this east wall open. That should be reasonably quick to do, as well as the garage walls as well. Bandit tricking obviously has undergone a little bit of a nerf realistically. The process has changed a little bit for those of you who are maybe coming back to us, maybe haven't watched us siege in a little while. The Thatcher EMP grenades now disable the devices rather than destroying them. So where previously the Bandit batteries were cleared off the wall completely and Bandit was able to just immediately apply another one, that's not the case anymore. They actually stay attached to the wall and will reactivate after a period of time, but Bandit now has to pick one of those up because obviously he can't apply a second gadget to the same panel. So just takes a little bit more juggling on the side of the defenders, so I would expect to see this opened up reasonably easily.
Setting up for what looks like a very atypical round between both teams, to be fair. The lineups on either side look as cookie cutter as they... If anyone said to me, what are the two main lineups that you see on a map like Clubhouse for CCTV cache? It would be this lineup, and almost down to this exact setup as well. Malusi at the end of servers always a thing. One place looking in towards construction's a thing. Normally then have one on the red stairs as well. Attackers will often focus on getting the CC breach open and then move over to putting their focus on the construction side of things. Now, they have managed to get one of these walls opened up, at least thanks to the Selmas. The exothermic was destroyed by the bandit charge, but equally, sadly, he can't put two down at the same time. Can't protect both walls. That's the job done, at least for Guts. And now they should rotate themselves out towards logistics, out towards construction, and put the focus on opening up that side before thinking about the execute.
Good start from the attackers there. Nice teamwork coming in and just doubling up on that hard breach utility to ensure they got the wall open. Yura is now going to hold an angle out onto the catwalk there. Unfortunately, you can't shoot that one light. The Banshee is, of course, bulletproof and will take a melee hit to close it out. We have... potentially going to be seeing some changes to that in future, but for the time being, that is the case. It needs to be hit with the melee shot. Now, Light has actually got himself moving in along with Willie and Crazy Papillon from the construction side now, and I believe the Thermite of JJ is there as well, but the question is, are they aware of Azzy underneath? Because that could become a big problem for them. If the Wamai is able to flank up main stairs, it would be a big faux pas. Ooh. This is a tight angle. He gets up on the stage. You can see the exothermic and just waits his time. I love to see that there's just that presence of mind, just taking those extra few seconds. And the thing is, when a round is lost by 2 or 3 seconds, it starts to look pretty important at that point.
Yeah, that's both exothermics down, and they use an extra Selma out on the east wall too. I think they still have one left. They do indeed currently sat on light, so I imagine his call is now, right, we need you on this side. We need help dealing with these bandit charges, which they might be able to clear off, in fact have for the most part. And finally, with 35 seconds left, it's Lily getting the opening kill onto Azzy, the one who was playing on the downstairs, denying out the plant onto the breach, onto the construction wall. Now we're starting to think about what they can push in for. Lily finding a second kill from out here to the west window, tries to find another, but it's Yura to pick up Soldier instead. 5 versus 2. Guts are running away with round number 1, Ace, with 15 seconds to go. Can Labyrinth and Canos hold on? Canos finds the first one. The second one comes through for Labyrinth. Suddenly it's a 3 versus 2. They almost found another, but it's JJ to win that trade out. 1 versus 3. The plant is now going down, but it's in the wrong place for Canos to be able to deny. Surely he knows. He flicks onto the guy out in the balcony. Knows that there is one because he can see the gun. He's just waiting for him to move. He was going to go and challenge, but Crazy's inside of Cash brings him down. Round number 1 going the way of Guts after a flurry of kills gave them all the advantage they needed.
Great cover from Crazy Papillon there. As we saw, the man was just rushing, had the gun barrel, could hit the pre-fire, and it was essential that he was shut down in the server, and that is absolutely what was achieved by the attackers. So that's going to be the opening round going to Guts, and a good attack. They managed to move around and sort of sidestep the adversity that they faced. As obviously they lost both exothermic charges without opening a single panel. Now, one of them was largely given up to the bandit. They knew that that would be the case. They played both sides of the wall purposefully, but I don't think they were aware of Azzy underneath, who was able to deny them on the construction wall, but they certainly didn't let it stop them. They managed to move around a potential pitfall there, get themselves into sight, and get the diffuser down and activated as well. There was a few good gunfights won from Guts that just enabled them to open that up, and this time around, Talon, they think better of that top floor hold, and, well, I mean, I say that, but they're going to head down to Church and Arsenal, but as we can see, 3 of their players have just headed their way towards the top floor. We've got a castle on board as well, so this is going to be a reasonably typical SSG hold that we would expect. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, he's heading back downstairs now. I was just waiting to see where Labyrinth was going. I'd expect him to see him castling off bar now. He'll open the hatch, and that's just going to allow that drop down for the defenders from the top floor. Something that, to be fair, as we actually very rarely see used. They either give up the life up there or just spend 2 minutes up there. It's rare that we do see them drop back down through bar actively into sight.
Yeah, bar at this point, teams are just far too good at breaking open the front entrance and killing you as you drop down through that hatch. That was the kind of initial iteration of the play. Now what you're more likely to see is defenders force their way into garage and drop down through oil to get back to site instead, which makes a lot of sense. But more commonly for attackers, they're either saying, well, forget about top floor, we're going to rush our way through blue, we're going to rush into garage, in this case, drop oil and run into blue, or we'll come in through dirt, one or the other. Where some teams have started adapting, and I remember Fnatic were one of the first ones to pioneer this, things like Capcan being brought along so that rushes weren't as good. Nearly every single team now, given the strength of Malusi, is defaulted to bringing her along instead. And also you hear the whoop, 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 whoop going on in key locations. That's all you need to get the indication of someone's rushing. Drop down to site, guys, because you can get from the top floor downstairs, assuming you have the clear-cut run, in about 6 to 8 seconds. So you can be back incredibly quickly to help your team defend that basement in no time at all, as long as the call comes out.
As he keeping himself in bar on the Vigil, using that scanner just to keep himself off the drones. Vigil, of course, able to remove his visual signature from the attacker drone. So it's almost as if he's invisible to them, but there is a little sort of white static effect at the top and bottom of the screen that does allow the attackers to be aware that there's a Vigil in the area, but it doesn't pinpoint his location. Now, the pressure is mounting, and as it is going to get himself out of there for the time being, JJ is who opens things up with a kill onto Tomorrow. So that's going to be the Mozzie off the board. His gadget will have already been deployed, so the pests will still be in use, but it is the first piece of a jigsaw puzzle for Guts that is all starting to come together. However, time could be a factor. There's 1 minute 15. They're only just getting control of that mid floor. There's a lot of work to be done yet, and they haven't cleared out all the roamers.
I don't think they know entirely where Azzy is at this point. He's playing a really aggressive game of running around on the ground floor, and rather than dropping through a hatch, what he's done is rotated through stage, got himself on the other side of the castle barricades that are meant to protect him. So technically he's in enemy territory here, Ace, but he's managing to keep himself in a bit of a guessing game with the rest of the opposition. They're sending drones into him. He's got support from team members who have come up blue stairs to match him, for example. It's looking good just to make sure that as many members as possible get back onto site, Mute has made it back to site down through garage as well. So really, only lost the Mozzie for about 2 minutes of time wasted, I'd say. That's not a bad result.
That's absolutely fine to say that Guts were moving quickly to begin with, getting in and pressuring them. They have managed to eat a lot of time off the board, and that could become a very important factor in the next 20 seconds. We see another man drop as Canos on the Malusi is taken out of things. Lily is looking to get an angle. They drop the hatch here, but taken down as they drop, and this is where the time could become a factor. Azzy and Labyrinth fighting back, getting themselves a couple of kills. 10 seconds left to go. Light manages to move in, pick up the diffuser, start to get it down on the ground, and once again, Crazy Papillon coming in with a very essential couple of kills at the end of the round to close things down. Guts managed to take round 2. Talon fought hard in that one, but Guts ultimately, they had the answer to every question.
They did indeed, and hey, at least in this case, Guts are the ones that are looking really on fire. I was concerned coming in today, to be honest, that we'd actually see Talon run away with this. Given how well they played last week, given what we've seen from Tomorrow and from players, now called Aziz rather, formerly was known as PMW, I thought they'd come in and really give good challenge to them. But it seems when it actually comes down to brass tacks, when it comes down to execution, it's always Guts that are coming out on top. The ones that are picking up the kills, it's looking good for them. Yes, there are kills coming back from Talon, but not enough to quite convert around their way just yet.
Heading back to CCTV for round number 3 then. The question now is, what do Talon need to do differently? How do they need to successfully defend this? And I think the answer starts with gunfights and leads into map control. I think very early the east wall was open. Guts had access to construction desks. There was just no real prevention in place to stop them coming in through bedroom. 3 or 4 were able to drop logistics hash, push window, get in through hot tub wall. There was nobody there to challenge at all. We had Azzy underneath who was able to take an exothermic away, but then had little impact on the rest of the round. He was basically just held at bay with a flank watch and shut down as he tried to move and make an impact. So I think Talon need to get themselves out into the map a little bit more. We've got the Oryx on board, so maybe that is something that we will see. Rotations being opened up there to allow freer movement around this area. So obviously recognising that part of the problem came from that area. Now, we always get excited, Des, when there's an Oryx on the board. I know we like to see those hatches opened up. Is this going to be the one where we see the jump up the hatch? Of course, Oryx able to have a look at the lip of that hatch and just drag himself up there using those powerful arms that he's got, and it could be a great way to get on the flank, but that is not a great start for Talon.
Nah, I think the only place that we really saw Oryx make a huge impact was actually in your vacation region for a short time, Ace, in LATAM, when we had the one come hopping up the hatch and study on Villa and kill 2 or 3 players as they were trying to push into trophy statuary.
Sardinia.
Exactly, I remember that as well. I remember it's Scar something, couldn't remember the full name, so I'm glad that you stepped in to take that one from me. But I gotta say, in these 3 rounds, it has constantly been a case of a member of Talon getting a little bit aggressive, a little bit aggy early on, and Guts are just ready. They've shut them down so comfortably time and time again. Here they're squaring up for an execute that we're all too used to. Get rid of both of the bandit batteries, get them all opened up. One of them will be denied. In this case, it's going to be the exothermic, but the second one will go off, and Soldier just says, yep, peace out, I'm out of here.
Doesn't matter in the slightest. As we said, it is all about burning some of that utility, whether it's the Selma, whether it's the exothermic, is irrelevant, really. It's about getting that east wall open and having the line of sight to prevent rotations and movement in around sight and restrict the defenders. And that was something they did well. We can see the garage wall has been opened up in the top corner as well, and now will be opened up underneath the catwalk. So it looks like this time Guts are particularly focusing on getting themselves the garage and CCTV control in order to get a plant down right next to that B-bomb, just in behind the safety of the server stack. That is going to be the play, but they will need to clear out Garage Catwalk before they're able to do that. Now, I'm still interested to see what Azzy is doing. He's got himself an angle out onto this garage door. He's not been able to have any impact yet, and it's one of those risk and reward plays. There's, if he doesn't have an impact from here, he leaves his team a man short on site. Now, he will take shots, he will do damage, but not enough to put anybody in the ground. So Aziz needs to think about getting himself back to site now, and that's exactly what he does as he hops up the hatch.
That's exactly it. Does have that ability to, rather than going for a risky rotate up a staircase, should be able to get up a hatch and get himself back to site. Canos challenge through the breach, I think, in this case, while also being pinced in from in garage. It just feels like constantly Guts are making massive number disadvantages where it's always a 2v1, a 3v1, someone being pushed in total isolation, and there's no trade play coming out from Talon. There's no ability to play together to try and make something happen. It's unfortunate. We do need to see them maybe stick a little bit closer together here and go for some more trade-based play.
Banshee cleared out, I think, there by the Zofia, yes, and there goes the second now. Out comes a toxic smoke canister. There is only one of those remaining. Crazy Papillon, however, able to get in there without taking damage. He's just on the edge of that canister, and the second one misses by a country mile, Des. Crazy Papillon manages to get the diffuser down, and it is now all on Talon to make this happen, and bodies start to fall as they try. 2 versus 2. JJ gets himself established out on the rappel. Light has a view onto the diffuser. Unfortunate not to find the head of the Oryx of Aziz there, but it won't matter. It only lets Talon survive for a couple of seconds before JJ and Light able to claim one apiece and shut that round down. Another solid attack from Guts.
Very good, and it looked like maybe there was something in the tank there coming out for the side of Talon, sorry. When as he found that 2k, I was like, okay, this is something now. They haven't stopped the plant going down, but it's a 2v2. They're both out on balcony. The problem is that head peak over the top of that east balcony is so tough to deal with. And I think even though they knew that there were 2 outside and there was only a single square hole made by the Selma, giving them vision into the site itself, still not enough to be able to do anything off the back of that one. It's 3-0 to Guts on the attack. Let's not forget here on club. Not that that really holds too much weight these days, as we are seeing quite a balance between attack and defense. It's starting to feel like across at least EU and APAC. But it's still a 3-round kind of victory streak they're on. If they can repeat this again across 3 more sites or across the 3 sites we've already seen, that would have been wondrous. However, we're stepping out to gym and bedroom. This is where I thought we might see the castle, but nope, going to see the Frost stepping in instead.
An interesting point to note as well, Des, is that so far 3 rounds and 3 successful plants for Guts Gaming, playing a very objective focus game and getting away with it. And what that tells me is that Talon, they're not keeping control of their sites well enough. They're giving up too much space, particularly in the site itself and close by. So, for example, Garage in that last round, by giving that space up, you're allowing Guts to then have their beachhead to move in and establish that plant, get that diffuser down, and it is going to cause them a problem. Now, Talon, they're looking to hold on to CCTV and Cash, and that in this case is that extension area that I'm talking about. They have to keep hold of that for as long as possible. They cannot allow Guts to get themselves established inside of construction and logistics, because if they do, they might just find the plant being successful once again.
I mean, looking at how many are stats out here and towards CC, we speak about this, I think, every single time we cast Ace. Historically, you'd have a Habana out here on the east. We'll get up a little hole, open up towards the bottom, just to challenge any defender that tried to run for the west window inside of CC. That way you could play as the attackers on the south balcony, threaten the gym and master windows, and use those as part of your attack. That's why you will always see attackers commit so much time to making sure this is cleared out, because if you also try and get control of construction and logistics, which you absolutely need if you're not going to try and get control of the south wall, or south balcony, sorry, you need to make sure that this area of the map is cleared out first. Same story as before. They double commit the hard breach towards this wall. I really like this, by the way, because we see some teams wasting like 90 seconds getting this wall open sometimes. These guys just commit both hard breaches there, get the job done, and then rotate elsewhere to make stuff happen in other areas of the map. Really effective from Guts.
They've been quite fortunate as well. This time around, Soldier tried to play it. Soldier tried to play it differently. He tried to play it a bit fast and loose there as he went across the construction window. Almost shut down by Euro, losing half of his health. He's just going to try and offer a little bit more protection to that deployable shield. But the point that I was making was he tried his bandit tricking differently. And what's actually happened is it's allowed Guts to get that wall open with just 1 exothermic charge, which means the choice is there for JJ to rotate onto the flip side of the map, go to the west side. I think that's where he's heading right now, and he's got another exothermic charge where he will be able to get the jacuzzi wall open. Now, he might need a bit of support from Light here. Light has used all of his Selmas though, so if the hot tub wall is not opened, then we might be looking at that and just asking that question about how much utility was used on East. But Light loses his life. That's an opening kill for Azzy.
Azzy's like some weird mix of, I don't know, like a rat and a snake in one. The number, like a monkey, is probably a better comparison, actually. He's hiding in all these little random corners.
Some sort of rat snake.
All right. Yeah, okay, no. I think I'm going to go for what I said before, actually. I think I'll go for, what did I say second to that? Rat, snake, and what, monkey? Rat, monkey mix is how I describe him, right? Snake. to prefer rat snake. I don't know. Whatever you want to go with. He can be a ferret if you want. But he's like popping up, getting a kill, and then dropping through like 2 or 3 different floors, sprinting the length of the map to come back up another side, doing it again, and just popping up like he's playing whack-a-mole in different parts of the map. He's jumped into a frost mat. Ace cries out, lets out a weep of pain. He knows all too well what this feels like. But as he again has sprung up in yet another location and found a kill for the team. 2 kills come swinging back, but Labyrinth tops it up to go 3 and 2. Another kill comes out. It's Azzy with 3 kills in a round, with Labby 2 to himself as well. Between them both, they've done all the work they need there. Azzy, like I say, the ferret, if you want to call him that, springing up around the map and picking up kills left, right, and center. That's what you want from a player like him.
A couple of good, I'll say early kills. They weren't necessarily early in the round, but in the grand scheme of things, Talon picking up the first 2 kills. So getting themselves a man advantage is the point that I'm getting to. Found themselves 5 versus 3 and were able to then just apply that pressure. Very well played, and that's their first defense picked up in gym and bedroom. But the problem that they face nowadays is that in their 2 remaining rounds, they have to go to Church and Arsenal and or CCTV. They could choose to go to one site twice. If they win one of them, they'll have to take the other, but those are the 2 sites they have to choose from here, and those are 2 sites that they are yet to win on the defense. So mentally the pressure is on for them. What do they do differently? How do they change things up? Now we can see that the hold here looks to be largely the same, and that's a bit of a concern for me, Des, because if you remember last time around, Guts, they were able to move in, they were able to get kills, and they dropped that hatch, got the diffuser down and won the round without too much of a problem. So Kitchen was an important area that was given up, and Guts took advantage of that. And also that top floor, the Roamers, they just need to be finding themselves a bit more impact and need to be getting a kill. Tomorrow it was that was first to die last time around on the Mozzie, so needs to keep himself active a bit longer this time.
Yeah, he did die first, but it did leave about 2 minutes left, or sorry, about 1 minute left when it actually came around to thinking about going for the drop on Guts' side, so they did have to step things up a little bit in pace. I didn't hate the roam. I didn't hate what they achieved in it. I think their big problem was they didn't expect the execute to come at such pace inside of Kitchen. This time round, that's where we need to see a little bit more preparation coming out, I think. We'll see how the attackers at least fare in the clear of this round. The one thing that really hurt them in the last round for me was the clearance against Azzy. Maybe now that they know it's a more dedicated roam with the Mute Mozzie combo, there's a lot more focus on roam fit before they think about anything else.
Hot tub wall opened up, so pressure starts to mount from the west. They know that that will have the effect of pushing the defenders out to the east, and they will fall back and try to take their fights in construction, CCTV and cash, which is exactly what happens. But Light gets in there with the Selma devices to open up the east wall as well. Right now, Des, there's a lot of utility being expended on the side of the attackers, and that is not good at all. Going in without vision onto blue stairs. Canos getting a little bit carried away though, Des. He was hungry. He wanted to gobble up the rest of Guts there, but they managed to shut him down, and we find ourselves now 4 versus 4 after a very quick and explosive exchange at the beginning of this round. But look at this. Guts, they're just heading straight into sight. They tried to push dirt. They're going to be hurt. Crazy Papillon with a team kill as well. It's all starting to fall apart for the Japanese side here, but Crazy Papillon manages to get in, make amends, find a kill. Lily joins him and doubles up, and we find ourselves now 2 versus 1. The man count in this round swinging back and forward, all down to Tomorrow, shut down by Lily, and Guts, they take the round. But that looked like it could be Talons, it could be Guts. It sort of flipped back and forward every 5 seconds.
Constantly back and forth. Yeah, it's the madness, I think, of a round like that where Canos is having that kind of syndrome that we all get when we play rank, right? You've got a kill and you're like, right, the logical brain in me says now's the time to pull back to site safely. I've got a kill. I should be happy with this. And he goes, just one more peek, Des, just one more. So we have one more crack at the cherry, one more bite at the cherry, one more go for him and see what I can get. What I will give to him, if he backs away down blue there, he probably was going to die to the guy on the upside down rappel, so I understand it. But it was like you've got a kill, you've been traded out straight after, probably not the most ideal case given they've already got the walls above you opened up. That opened up blue because then you had to see the defenders rotate individuals around to face him more eastward. By then they'd already charged their way through. You have the defenders still kind of getting set up ready for this push. Before you know it, they've got control of the site. They're in a 2 versus 1, and Guts managed to close things out. So a scrappy round, but a round nonetheless, 4-1 to the attackers.
As you said, Canos just finding himself in no man's land, effectively. I think if we're honest, really, he had no business being quite so aggressive up those blue stairs, because whilst he took one with him, it didn't really prevent the rush, because the upside down rappel meant, as you said, they could go absolutely nowhere. And he just found himself out of position, effectively. He had absolutely no choice but to stand and fight, and Guts did fantastically well to shut him down. The top floor roam not really having any impact, showing there, how you can attack around that and basically just cut it off by not really dealing with it. They just got up, opened west and east wall, made the defenders feel uncomfortable, and then they just caught them out as they tried to move back down to site. So very decisive play from Guts, and just another way of dealing with that top floor roam. For me this time, if we're committing Talon to this top floor roam, you've got to get some kills. You've got to be getting in there. Take a couple of them with you, waste your minute and a half, 2 minutes, and make it significantly difficult for them to push onto site.
It was quite a smart bait, admittedly, coming out of Guts, where they just opened up the jacuzzi wall, then they opened up the east breach and just thought, that's enough. That'll scare the defenders away from top floor. And sure enough, it did pull them back towards site, which is when we then saw Guts commit to going for the push. So again, this phantom pressure that I always speak about. No one's actually there at the breach, but it's the fear of what if someone is there now that it's open? We just don't know that as the defenders. As he going for his same sort of roam as we saw the first time around, they picked off the SSG style strap roam, I guess, on this floor. What they're trying to focus on here is getting him around the map outside of the expected area to do some surprising damage. And he's already caught Lily here, who probably didn't expect him to be inside of lounge, thought he'd instead still be inside of bar.
As they're opening things up this time, he also got the opening kill back in round 4, so not a bad start to a number of rounds for him. And I always pick up on this with the Vigil. It's important that they get kills because that is what their gadget enables them to do. That is their contribution to the team. So already, as he getting in there and making his presence felt here in round 6, 7 kills on the board so far and going very well. Look at him. As you said, there's absolutely no slowing him down. He's up and down blue stairs. He's just trying to pester them. He's trying to hassle the flanks. And that is what you need to do as a good Vigil. Try and keep yourself off the radar and just keep popping up like whack-a-mole, Des. Just make yourself difficult to pin down.
And he has been in multiple cases, currently sat on 7 kills in this game. The rest of the team outside of maybe Labyrinth leaving something to be desired in these first 5 rounds, but it's the damage that he's doing which can make the difference. Now, who else he can catch is going to be a different question. You can see the side of Guts half split now between Kitchen and someone out towards Blue. So maybe going for this 2, maybe 3-prong push here. I'm thinking is there going to be someone inside of Dirt? It looks like not, as Tomorrow kicks the kill onto JJ. 3 versus 5 for the attackers. This one feels like it might start slipping by the wayside.
Yura just trying to hold his position there and just bide his time. He's looking to push at the perfect moment, but I don't think that perfect moment is going to come. Soldier steps in, puts up a fight, and lets Guts know that they've got a battle on their hands. Labyrinth shuts down Yura in blue tunnel. It's all down to Crazy Papillon. 1 versus 5, surely too much to ask. He gets spotted out in the corridor and shut down by Labyrinth for a flawless round.
Much better and much more cautious, I'd say, as well. Once the Vigil found that opening kill, back down to site, and yes, he danced around blue for a while, was moving up and down oil, for example, to make sure they had full coverage, but wasn't trying to go too aggressive. And it was a similar story, I think, for the rest of Talon. One question I will always ask is, why didn't they not know that Soldier was going to be above? This kind of shows why you have to deal with this SSG-style roam. They can cover Kitchen from above, they can come descending down Garage whenever they want, and come up your backside from blue, for example. It does hurt when you don't focus on those that are on the roam, and you can see why teams get often so bothered about it and why it needs to be cleared out. The speed at which those on the top floor can get to covering crucial execute locations is unbelievable.
Moving into round number 7, then the sides will swap as Guts have done their 6 rounds attacking, so we'll now be able to set the sights up for themselves and allow Talon to try and find their way in. This is where I'm a little bit concerned for Talon. There's, maybe I could be wrong in this, and we will see as the next couple of rounds develop, but I feel like Guts have just been on top of things so far. They've had the answer for everything Talon has tried to bring. Now it's Talon who needs to find those answers, and they've not really been able to evolve or adapt extremely well. I think, we saw the same hold for Church and Arsenal 3 times. Fair enough, it was successful on the last one, but that just came down to a different outcome of a couple of gunfights. That was Vigil picking up a kill and just opening the round up for them rather than them doing something significantly different. So I think it could be a good round or 2 for Guts here, and if that happens, I think they'll largely secure the match in the overall scheme of things.
Well, let's see how it shapes out then. See how their attacks and how their defenses vary from one another. Attacking-wise, it is a near identical lineup. The only difference being there is no Thatcher. There is instead the Ashe and the Sophia collectively. Maybe hinting they want to get below here inside of stock and start blowing out the wall from below. That will also include needing lounge control. And you potentially got a bit of a risk here in facing off against JJ on the Goyos. Got some of these punch holes open, through into stock, ready for someone to come for the challenge. Between them both here, there's going to be a bit of defense on the downstairs, I think, trying to block this away. Nate comes through, will get rid of that Goyo shield, which might put the fright up JJ and get him rotating back a little bit. Now assumes his position behind these punch holes. Let's see if he can find anyone off the back of them, though.
Playing without any fear there, JJ. Happy to hold himself inside of the garage for the time being and just shut down any approach through stock and lounge. But Soldier thoroughly droning, and I'm sure JJ will be spotted out. Now then, I'm not sure if he has been. Labyrinth is there ready to potentially push in, but the drone was not extended as far as garage, and that could be costly if they try to move underneath. Now, for the time being, Soldier on the thermite is out there on the east breach. He's looking to get that open. There we go. JJ not spotted out, and it does cost them. Very, very close to losing a man as it is. Canos extremely lucky to get away with about 27 damage. That could have been far worse, and that just goes to show why you have to be so thorough with your droning. Now tomorrow looks to move in and make that challenge. He's just going to spray through the soft wall, but JJ had already moved away. He's got himself fighting inside of that garage doorway. He's just looking to try and keep pestering, try and keep just hassling the flanks. As it is, he can drop oil pit when the time comes, but right now he's keeping this aggressive.
I am really impressed at his composure here and handling under pressure. He's got Zofia on one side, Ashe on the other, both gunning to try and destroy the mute jammers that are sat above the CC wall. I think they've now finally dealt with them so they can get it open, but my God, it's taken 2 minutes to get the East breach open. Compare that to how it shaped up earlier on when Guts were the ones on attack and they had it open in 60 seconds. That's a problem. They do manage to finally get rid of JJ, unsettle him from inside a garage. Now you've got to deal with step 2, Lily, who's up in the rafters.
2.5 minutes nearly, Des, with a man just sat inside of garage. It cannot be allowed to happen. They have to deal with that situation because right now they don't have catwalk, they don't have anything, and this is going to be a difficult situation for Talon. JJ unable to escape with his life, but his job is largely done. 15 seconds left to go, but the kills start to mount up. There is no answer to this other than aggression coming out of Talon. Light shut down in the corner, and as I'm saying it, it should have been a guts round. They wasted 2.5 minutes before Talon could get anywhere near garage, but then the rest of the defense just came down like a house of cards.
Oh my, I mean, when you've got an Ashe literally walking their way up garage stairs onto catwalk, killing 2 people in the process, if not 3, when you include JJ earlier, that is a problem. And I can't believe Guts let that happen, to be fair, but hey, comes back to bite them a little bit. That does start swinging this advantage slightly away from them, where we're now at 4-3 to Guts, sure, but for Talon, they're starting to fight their way back into this. Not at all surprised to see Labyrinth and Azzy nearly the top 2 of the spots in terms of kills contribution in this game. Guts need to make sure, yes, it was only the first round. It's not game over just yet, but you've got to be so mindful of what happens next. If this goes to 4-4, suddenly you start sweating at the brow and this game feels a lot closer than it currently is.
As he's just taking the 6th pick out onto the Jackal there, just looking to make things difficult for any roam game that is played. Now, looking at the defensive lineup, I'm not sure that we will be seeing similar to the defensive hold that had out of Talon. They took the SSG strategy, went up to the top floor, applied a few roamers, and it didn't really pay dividends for them. They were only successful in 1 out of 3 defenses here on Church and Arsenal. So Guts look like they're going to be taking a slightly different approach on the whole. We've got a Warden, a Smoke, we've got a Kaid, so we've got a lot of denial there, a lot of methods to prevent the attackers from gaining an advantage through their own utility, and we can see the majority are still located down on those lower floors. JJ just pushes himself up in towards garage. He certainly seems he's found his sort of spirit location there, Des. He's quite happy getting himself rooted in and around that garage, but for the time being he's going to head back to site, and as we can see, all 5 defenders downstairs there, and they are just going to try to hold on for as long as possible here, and the electrical are just perfectly positioned to reach that hatch at distance.
It feels very like a throwback to almost like a year ago of how teams are defending this, where you put the castle on the moto door that looks towards main stairs so you can't easily be challenged, stick the Kaid on the box in the corner and have him try and trick the hatch. I haven't seen that in ages.
Well, you're about to keep your eyes on it, as obviously the thing is we've got no Thatcher on board Des now. Thatcher is available, and if we get to a position whereby Talon are struggling to open hatches and that becomes a factor in a failed attack here, not to say that it will do, but if it does, it's a question that will certainly be asked. We've got Ace and we've got Thermite. Both hard breaches have been brought along. We've got a Jackal that is largely useless. There's no roamers, there's nobody really to go out and to scan and to pick up and chase down. So at this point I'd be arguing that Thatcher would have been a much more valuable pick.
Maybe it's the anticipation of some kind of SSG roam coming out and knowing how much it can help was the part they were thinking of. But I agree, they can't deal with that Moto hatch. They're going to have to put all their attention elsewhere. Right now, it is a bit of a congregation of Talon Esports inside the kitchen. The boys are hungry to try and think about the execute through the drop. They've got a couple of smokes they can play behind as well when you think about it. 2 on the Jackal, 2 on the Ace. Lots to play with here, but it does make their attack very one-dimensional. And I expect Guts are now starting to feel quite aware of this. They know maybe someone's at blue, as Zofia is normally the one you see in that spot who can't stop anything. And a C4 onto the bottom of the main stairs here could be huge if they time it right.
I think Crazy Papillon has that C4 in hand, ripped and ready to go. We can see he's lining this up. He's ready for that toss. He wants to throw it out, and now is the time. And out it goes, and one falls. As he lucky not to go with him. That's the opening kill onto Tomorrow. And here comes a bit of a push in reaction from Talon, as we have the ace of Labyrinth moving into the back of Armory. Out goes another Nitro, unsuccessful this time. Canos manages to level the man count, and Labyrinth starts to get that diffuser down, but shut down by Lily. Guts are looking good here, and right now Talon, they're just looking a bit one-dimensional, but the push down blue will help. But Canos is shut down, and 1 versus 2. It's the best fragger on the team so far, as he cannot even find the first, as Light uses that shotgun to shut him down. And you've got to ask the question, Des. Did the Thatcher have the impact? There was no way to push Moto. There was no way to come anywhere other than the Ash Rush spot from the bottom of main stairs. And Guts, they read into that beautifully.
Their whole attack there really spun on a dime, I thought. When you had the Zofia pushing down blue, like, great, that does give you the alternate angle of pressure that you want. Otherwise, everyone is pushing down main stairs. They didn't get the hatch open inside a kitchen. They relied on smokes to push their way through. Real big brain play coming out from the defenders there to bring along the Warden just in case too. Maybe not quite in the right position at the very start because they were expecting the drop to come through the kitchen hatch. Didn't realize instead it was going to be that rush coming through the Ash Rush wall or Pulse wall, whatever you want to call it. It almost came off for the attackers, but unfortunately just not enough control, I felt. You only had blue, no one was inside of dirt, which then Light had that really good path she could play from to both contest blue and step out and contest the plant spot. Really well played by Guts. For Talon, need a few more strings to your bow. Finally, the Thatcher's going to come out as they realise they cannot face another round of dealing with the Kaid.
Absolutely not. Not only the electricals being put to good use, but also the Nitro. Crazy Papillon having a fantastic game on the Kaid there, just really showing how well-rounded the operator can be, not even needing to use his weapon to secure kills or have an impact on the round. And that is so important in a game like Siege, where the operators and their abilities factor so heavily in the gameplay. You really do need to be able to squeeze every single drop out of them, and that's exactly what Crazy Papillon achieved there in round number 8. But looking to the present, round 9, we are going to be heading upstairs. We've got the gym and bedroom hold this time around coming out from Guts. We can see, though, as we would expect, there is pressure being placed from the defenders up there in the faces of the attackers should they try to push in from that east side. But I don't think we've got quite as much utility being expended as maybe Talon applied to this area. So we'll see how that applies. Do Talon get in there quickly? Are they able to pressure the attackers, or will Guts hold on to the east side?
You'd always suspect someone would be east side. If nothing else, just to waste time to begin with, and you do draw the hard breach, for example, things like that. And there is reinforcements out there. There are 1 or 2 members looking to kind of cause some trouble. Speaking of trouble, Yura's the one playing the kind of whack-a-mole minigame in this round. He's currently down in the basement, miles away from the action, looking to see what he can bring to the table as the push starts moving forwards. He could come up blue, for example, and start contesting inside of CC, especially if they already think it's clear that no one's coming up there. He could play massive spoiler.
Tomorrow picks up the opening kill onto Crazy Papillon, and that's going to be a good start for Talon here. But as you say, Euro, they really could have the answer. They really could spoil that party. Now, the East push starts to begin. As we can see, there are reinforcements there. You know, as I said, some utility has been expended, just not necessarily as much as Talon was applying. There was no denial applied to that East wall. There was no attempt to keep them actively out of there, just maybe to waste 15 or 20 seconds and one of those exothermic charges. Now Lily just up at the top there of the red stairs. We can see a tight angle being held, protected by an ADS, somebody that definitely needs to be moved. Deployable shield as well, and push is going to come through the breach. Now Yura for me is the mystery this round, Des. What is he going to bring to the table?
Could look to call garage maybe through catwalk and contest, or could run out a garage door. I thought he might pull back up red, but no, Lily's already at the top of there, so it's not really going to be part of the game plan. And I think actually, no, the full rotate's coming in now. They've kind of done with their bait going on to the east. They've moved everyone over to the west. Completely gone for the mid-round rotate here with about 40 seconds still to play, which means Yura is free maybe to come back through basement again and work his way up main stairs.
I'm just a little bit concerned that Yura's leaving himself out in the cold here. Time will tell, but Light gets a kill onto Azzy, and right now they are a man short on site. Yura manages to make his way back up those main stairs. He's actually going to head underneath here. Is there the potential for a nitro denial? He's going to have to time and execute perfectly, and that is exactly what he does. Nitro comes in from the hatch, takes down Soldier and Labyrinth, and just spins this round on its head. Light doubles down, finds a kill onto Canos, and right now 4 seconds left to go. Diffuser down on the ground. Tomorrow there is nothing that he can do. Shut down today by Yura, and that's going to be Guts Gaming taking the round. Yura, we knew, had the potential for a big impact on that round, and he tried, he prodded, he poked, he just looked at every avenue, every angle, and ultimately it was the hatch inside of Jim that he managed to punish them from, and he timed that throw to perfection.
Oh man, we were talking about him all round as well, about being the unknown entity, the one that could cause serious damage, and he causes it in the worst way. Gets the double C4 kill, completely shuts down the execute, and Tomorrow, who already had a 2k in that round, was stood there like, oh, what do I do, guys? Like, that's it. Round's over. You can try and make something happen, only for Yura to then step up and get the closing kill, secure the 3k, secure the round. That is Guts moving up to match point. It hasn't necessarily been the cleanest all the way through, but the rounds where they have shone bloody bright.
We move into CCTV again. The glimmer of hope for Talon here is that back in round 7, we saw Guts try to defend CCTV, and they were unsuccessful. If you remember, that was the round with the heroic effort from JJ to hold on to lower garage. Did a fantastic job of it, just working through the stock wall. It just seemed like Talon never really got a grasp on his location or what he was trying to do. I'm sure that they will be aware of it this time around, and will look to do a little bit more. Here it is. What a replay, and what a shot. Look at that throw, absolutely perfect, and just blows Labyrinth and Soldier into next week there. They did not know what day it was when that nitro landed.
Well, left Tomorrow in that ugly 1 versus 2, and we saw how that played out. Match point. 3 rounds back-to-back for Talon to be able to bring their way back into this game. Guts going once again with their very heavy setup here, looking towards the Goyo, the Maestro, the Mute for Denial, which they did struggle with for about 2 minutes last time around. Let's not forget. It was Tomorrow walking his way up through Garage, getting himself 2 kills on the push-up catwalk that helped them win the round. But outside of that, that was really all they had going for them. So unless we can see a repeat of that, of which Guts, I'm sure, will not be letting happen, this could be an ace. This could be the 7-3 victory that Guts are looking for.
That's it. Guts cannot allow that freedom in the last 30 seconds for players to move in and get a couple of kills, especially after all the work that JJ had done to keep them out of there. It was a big surprise that Talon were able to execute quite so quickly. Now, Canos, he's going to be getting the drone out, looking for information inside of sides. I think they could give a good guess as to where the majority of these defenders are located, but JJ just heads himself down the blue stairs there. I'd be interested to see exactly where he's off to, if he's continued that path, if he's maybe looking looking to move straight through the basement and back up the far side to prevent this push into construction. We've got Tomorrow and Azzy both pushing that side. Labyrinth and Soldier, I think, just joining the party as well there. So there are now 3 pushing out on this side, as we can see. 2 still paying attention over the far side. Or is it actually 4 now that have got themselves onto the construction side, and just 1 man is left to be accounted for? That's construction wall open. JJ, he hasn't pushed any further, so the battle lines are drawn, Des. It's all going to come down to a war here, and the war is being won by Guts right now.
Where's the 5th for Talon? Medics, help me. Help me. Where is he? Okay, there he is.
He's holding breach from
he's pretty far out, I'm not going to lie. I was like, surely you play on the rappel here, but no, he's playing right out in the spawn. Fair play. Probably watching the red doorway is mainly the main point here. Look for maybe the rotates to worry about, because people can't rotate through cash because of this being opened up. They can't rotate through red because of that long angle. It does cut the attackers off here in terms, or defenders, sorry, in terms of being able to look after each other. But I imagine that Zofia needs to get closer sooner rather than later to help when it actually comes to the push. What an angle from JJ onto Azzy.
JJ just taking the head off the man there, and the problem, Des, with the Zofia being out so far and watching the red door is that there's not going to be an attempt to plant inside of the server stack where you would normally plant. So you're not trying to prevent people from getting into CCTV. At the minute, the attacking push is coming into cash, and that is exactly what we see. They're being cut down one after another, because guess what? There's no cover for them, because the Zofia is covering the red door now. Soldier will start to put the diffuser down. In comes a Nitro from distance. JJ will have one underneath and is not able to make an impact, but Light and Yura do the job, and they're able to get in without any trouble and get that diffuser disabled. I just think the setup from Talon wasn't quite right there, Des. The cover wasn't sufficient to support them in getting into their plant spot.
A little bit heavy on the one side. Again, I understood the intent, trying to split things out between saying, okay, you can't come through red, you can't go through cash, fine. But the defenders had no problem standing inside a garage, standing inside a CC, and just contesting into cash from there. Canos was a non-entity, had 0 impact at the very end. A little bit of a scrappy end to that one for Talon, but I think really reflective of how the game overall went. Guts were a little bit more switched on today. Tomorrow tried his best in a few of those rounds with the 2s and the 3Ks that he was stacking up.